find out the answer straight from a pediatrician, Dr. Naomi Esthernita.
Hello, good evening, doctor. Thank you
Hello,
so much for
doctor.
joining us today.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, Doc.
Hi,
Doctor, first
Kay.
of all, I might not be familiar with the term, but what is actually shaken baby syndrome? Because I've been rocking the baby.
Stop shaking the baby. He wants to sleep.
Okay. Shaken baby syndrome is a severe form of head injuries, usually because of the baby's brain rebounding inside the baby's skull when shaken. So these injuries can cause the brain of the baby become swelling, pressure, and then bleeding. So it causes brain damage. That's the shaken baby syndrome.
So I have seen on YouTube what the shaken baby syndrome looks like when a baby or a toddler was diagnosed with it. And it is very scary because they are debilitatedly paralyzed. They cannot move very much. But you may know about the most recent video that has went viral. Ria Riches and her latest news where she and her husband took their child on a jet ski ride and on an ATV ride. What do you think about this? When is it possible that these kinds of turbulence could cause the shaken baby syndrome or any injuries to the baby?
Yeah, it might be, but usually the term itself, shaken baby syndrome, you have to know what's the number one reason. Usually, parents or caregiver is like frustrated. Usually, it happens like this: the parents or caregiver is frustrated, facing the baby's crying, so they can't control themselves, so they shake the baby. Usually it happens like that.
Yeah.
Okay? So it usually happen just unintended.
Very interesting. Well, before that, so what you're trying to say, it's when the baby is like deliberately shaken with the energy. Usually, that's what it happens. It could be because of playing or frustration.
Yeah, usually the number one reason of the baby shakes is because the caregiver so frustrated when crying, cannot stop crying, so the parent or caregiver become frustrated and shakes the baby. Usually the cases is like that.
I see. Okay, and I see many people do a throw and catch baby. Yes. Yes. Is that considered shaking as well? Like this?
Yeah, of course, because the baby's is not strong enough to protect, because if the shaking or the swinging is too fast, then it will be like there'll be tilt forward, and then the brain can rebounding in the brain skull, so it makes pressure and swelling of the brain.
I see.
And then sometimes it's got bleeding, so well, it's quite dangerous though.
Yeah, I see many parents do that.
Like, I know that's so scary,
throwing
especially
catch.
when they're very young.
Yeah.
But sorry, but I really need to ask: at what age range is a baby very prone to shaken baby syndrome, and what age is it finally safer to play with the baby? Like in different, because I understand when they're very young at infancy, like newborns, you really have to be very careful. But at what age are their skull mature enough to be safely, playing?
Yep.
Okay. This happens usually below 2 years, but below 1 year, the most frequent is around 2 to 6 months of age. Because the neck muscle is not strong enough.
Okay.
So the incidence happens frequently in around 2 to 6 months of age. So if you can say it's safe after 2 years, but still be careful. But the most frequent incidence is around 2 to 6 months of age.
Okay, so doctor, what are the symptoms of the shaken baby syndrome that is actually visible, that we can actually put attention on?
Okay, the baby looks like irritable, doesn't want to drink, doesn't want to eat. Sometimes it become drowsy, and then if bleeding, then the baby looks like pale, and then it becomes seizure. So that's the symptoms.
And are there any medical treatments for a baby who has been diagnosed with shaken baby syndrome?
Well, it depends. It depends on the severity or on the complication. The emergency treatment usually because of the baby has this in breathing, so we need to give breathing supports, and maybe we need some surgery if there is a brain bleeding, bleeding in the brain. So that is the emergency, and some babies maybe needs medication to reduce the swelling of the brain and to prevent seizure.
Okay.
But doctor, last but not least, would you care to give us some tips on handling and holding a baby? I mean, this comes from the men point of view. We are not really experienced on doing that, and we just want to. Sometimes we got really reluctant because we're just scared on handling a baby and holding a baby. And would you care to give us some tips on doing that?
Okay, just be careful, be gentle with the baby, and because this is talking about shaken baby syndrome, and you have to know the reason why it happens. The number one incidence of the reason is because of the parents or caregiver, like I said before, it's so frustrated facing the baby crying. So the tip is you have to calm down yourself. You have to tell yourself that crying is a baby communication.
Communicate. Yes.
Yeah.
So if baby communicate with crying.
Yep.
So you have to know, you have to tell yourself that crying is baby's communication.
Yep.
So if you cannot stand on that, be calm, baby on a safe place, and then take your time, or you can ask for another help. So don't sing so frustrated facing the baby's crying, and you can't control yourself, and then you shake the baby. So be careful. So if you can't stand with that, just put the baby on a safe place, and then take your time, and then ask for help.
Don't shake the baby.
Wow.
don't
All
shake.
right. That
shake the
sounds
baby.
really easy, but it is very hard to be implemented. Very hard to do.
Yeah.
But
You have to control yourself.
yes, because sometimes we don't really realize how much power that we can actually have.
Yeah.
And also, us, especially men, we're sometimes losing control of our power. But doctor, before we conclude our interview, I want to ask my fellow host to play a mini game called Myth or Fact. So I will say some statements on how to treat babies, and these mothers need to guess whether it's a myth
Okay.
or a fact.
That's a test, right?
And
Yes.
you will give us the right answers and explain each statement. Okay. Am I clear
so
enough?
it's
All right.
about myth and facts, right?
Yes.
Yes, myth and fact. Okay. Are you both ready?
Yes.
Okay,
Captain.
so the first question. When we carry babies for too long, they will become spoiled and have certain odor due to our hands. Is it a myth or fact? So both are
Myth.
answering myth. So the
So both.
Yes.
myth, yeah?
Bau tangan.
Okay, so it is actually the traditional myth that we've been hearing.
We call it bau
Bau
tangan.
tangan.
We call it in Indonesian
Odor
bau
of our
tangan, but
hands.
Yeah.
Amazing.
there is no
Actually,
such thing.
by
That's
Actually, by
ridiculous.
holding it calm down. It make the baby skin to skin, make the baby comfort.
Yes.
Okay, so does it also mean that it actually affects the baby psychologically? I mean, to have like an overly attachment to the mother?
Yeah, because like holding skin to skin, it will cycle comfort the baby. It make the baby.
Right, so that's what they call it, bau tangan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the second statement. Holding a baby too often can cause spinal disorders.
It depends on how you hold it.
Yes.
How are you holding it?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Because if you don't hold it right, obviously it's not healthy. If you go
both
on a
are
jet
answering
ski,
myth.
And emotionally healthy as well.
So is it a myth, Doc?
Yeah, that is a myth.
Okay.
But when would it be?
Like I
What kind of
said-
holding would
Yes.
be dangerous, though, Doc?
Appropriate holding.
Yeah.
And
what
not.
kind of holding
Yeah,
would be
you
dangerous
have to
the
hold
spine?
gentle.
So not too strong, yeah?
Yes.
Right, we got this baby.
Gentle hands.
Right, we got
Gentle,
this.
gentle.
All right, the third statement. Babies should be swaddled tightly to prevent their legs from bending.
This is the greatest myth ever.
Yeah.
This is my favorite.
Yes.
This
It's a myth,
is
yeah?
my favorite myth that people keep on telling me, and I say no.
Exactly. Okay,
Our babies'
doctor, the
hands and
next
feet are fine.
statement. A baby's hands and feet should always be covered with gloves or footwear.
Myth.
Myth.
Yes.
I
it's
think we
myth
have
also.
a very clever mom now.
Well, include my partners here, my co-hosts. But
Yeah,
doctor, so the common misconception might come from how the gloves and footwear could actually keep the baby warm.
Yes.
But why should it not be covered?
Well, baby reflex. They have to exercise. They have to try to open to grasp the fingers. So by putting the glove, you not allow to the baby to do so. So the reflex will be. Yeah.
It's limiting the mobilization, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In that sense.
And also for sensory
experience.
sensory
Oh,
experience.
okay, sensory experience.
Yeah.
Okay. The last
Oh,
one, Doc.
goodness Lord.
Clever mom.
The last
This
one.
one.
Although it might sound very silly, but this actually happened a lot every day.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Pinching a baby's nose can make it look pointier than it should be.
It's on my nose.
So why
yeah.
don't you press your nose?
But maybe there's a little fact. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Look, is it a
More myth.
myth or a fact, Doc?
Of course, myth.
We did it.
Yes.
I think you have very clever mom.
All right, so apparently I'm quite a proud friend over here because both girls and both moms here are smart mothers. So, Dr. Naomi, thank you
Yes.
so much for being here, and also thank you so much for your explanation. I hope that we could actually see you in the studio offline. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Okay,
doctor.
thank you.
Thank
See
you, Doc.
you.
Wow.